Hi students. This is going to be a video where I make every single piece of the pieces that you need to make your elevator. Now, just to be clear, an elevator is a pulley system. I have an example of my elevator up front, and I have a list of cutting specifications, including dimensions, names, and quantities of these different things to help you out, guiding you in this process. So, I want to start by making them together. Your objective for this assignment is to use control points to place objects precisely. It is to use dimensions to create shapes in AutoCAD. And again, it's to explore AutoCAD. There are a lot of things you can do. There are a lot of choices up here that you can choose to help you figure out what's going on. Some of you I know get lost in these other tabs at times. All you need to do though is go back to home and find your stuff. So now we have that. The first thing I would like to do is to go into my vector cut layer. You can also hit make current, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Over here you'll see I have a properties tab. I'm going to delete that so I can show you how to get it back. I like having that properties tab. I do it like this. If it doesn't automatically snap, oop, I've got mine locked. You can allow, no, it's not that. I'm going to show you. Well, you can always pull it over to the screen and dock it there. This might be a little bit different because I've got two screens on my computer. Another thing that I wanted to discuss, selection. When you select objects, you can select all the different objects that you want to select. But this is pick add. I want to show you this because when you use AutoCAD and you make a shape, for example, I'm going to be making my elevator top shape. This elevator top shape, I have it right here. It's 3.5 by 3.5. Right now, I'm seeing this control point come up, and I don't want it there. The easiest way to prevent this is to go down to my object snaps and turn off that control point, which is geometric center. It's still showing up, but once we go into a new command, that should not be an issue. Okay, what's next? Oh no, one of my other screen is not looking too good. That's scary. Well, oh, there it goes. It went away. Anyway, I'm going to be making this rectangle. 3.5, comma, 3.5. I explained this earlier to you guys as, think about it like this. You want to tell the computer, this is a process of you and the computer talking to each other. You say to the computer, I want to make a rectangle. And I'll remind you guys that a square is a rectangle. Nobody ever said that rectangles can't have sides that are all the same length. This is a rectangle. You say, I want to make a rectangle. And the computer says, okay, where do you want to start that rectangle? And you tell it. I want to start this rectangle to make my car top, for example, right here. And the way rectangles are made in this program is by starting with this one point and dragging it to the opposite corner. It's the way selection works. It's the way a lot of things work. But we are able to tell AutoCAD how far away from that first point we want to make the second point. And since we are working in 2D, we want to make that first point 2.5 and the X away, and then we hit comma, and we want to make that also 2.5 in the y away. And that's what we're left with, a 2.5 by 2.5 shape. Okay. Now, we are going to make, let's see, trying to decide, yes, I think I want to make it so that I explain how to do the specifications the way that I would like them to be done. So let's break down these specifications that I gave for this elevator top. I could even label this elevator top if I wanted to by typing in text. I can do the start point of text. Specify height. 0.2, that's just fine. Specify rotation angle, I don't need that. And I can start typing and I can say elevator top. And then I click away from it. And then, unlike other commands, I hit escape. I know it's kind of weird, but it's just part of it. I'm also going to take that and move that from my vector cut layer to my 0 layer. Okay, so actually I'm going to move that just outside of it. The next thing that I want you to do is create a centered 0.055 radius hole 1 inch from the edges, two edges, and then a 0.5 by 1 rectangle cut out centered. So these radius holes sound really nasty and awful, and the reason that number is so weird is because it's half of 0.11, which is the size of those dowels that we have in the classroom. This hole that we're making on our elevator top is for the dowels. Because this elevator will not work unless we have the dowels totally straight up and down, we need to make sure they're all centered, they're all in the right place, which leads to the complicated part of this issue, or of this project. What I'm going to do next is I am going to use little cheats to get me where I want to go, to get that centered radius hole from 1 inch from the edge. So here's how I'm going to do that. I know I'm still in vector cut, but if you want, you could create a new layer by going to I guess I'll just type in new layer. Oop, not that. New layer. Ah. I guess it's not as easy to make a new layer here because I have I change current layer, layer 1, merge layers, delete. I think this is the case because this is a specific template I made for AutoCAD. That's all right. Okay. All my different layers. I wish I could easily make a new one, but that's all right. Okay. I'm exiting out of that. You may wonder how I got there. I right-click to get this. It says repeat new, recent input, all sorts of things. All right. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take a piece of that information that I need, which is it's 1 inch from the edge, and I'm going to make something 1 inch from the edge. Now, I didn't specify on this sheet, but I think I'm going to edit it and make it say this. I want it 1 inch from the edge in the Y. So from this edge, so it's moving over 1 inch in the X. Yeah, so 1 inch in the X it's moving over. I'm sorry, that was confusing. 1 inch in the X. So the way I'm going to figure out where that is I am going to make another rectangle. And it's going to be 1, 3.5. The 1 is the 1 inch over, and the 3.5 is the length of this box that we made right here. All right, what's next? What we have next is a centered 0.055 radius holes, 1 inch from the edge, and that's centered. So what I mean by that is I want it centered on this line. Now, how are we going to find the center of this line? Well, Well, this is where our object snaps come in. You'll be able to find the center of that line if you have midpoint selected. So make sure you have midpoint selected. Next, you're going to go up to circle. So we have a center radius circle here, which is great because that's what I gave you. I gave you guys a radius. So I clicked right on the midpoint, just took a second to find, and I found that little triangle, and that is my midpoint. Now you can see I have this dialog box coming up right here. This is my dynamic input, and if this is turned off, I can help you. You can also start by typing dynamic into dynamic input. It's called like dyne in into your command line. So what I did right there was I just typed in that radius because it was asking me for a radius in my command line. I can even see that by specify center point for circle, specify radius of circle, tells me right in my command line. And now I have this first circle, but I said 1 inch from edges. So what I mean, I'm going to change that 1 inch from side edges, because that was confusing and I don't want to confuse you with the language I use. So I'm going to take this rectangle. I'm done with it now. I don't need it anymore. This is just one way of how to do this. And I'm going to move that rectangle with my M command. M is move. If I hit move or M and then hit enter, I'll be able to move this. I select it from my bottom right corner because I'm moving it to the bottom right corner. What I'm going to do next is use my copy command. I'm going to take this circle that I already made and I'm going to type in CO. That's copy. My base point, and this is important, needs to be the center of my circle. I get to the center of my circle by turning on the circle object snap. I go ahead and I find that triangle and I hit enter. Pretty clever, huh? Now I have these two circles exactly where I want them to go. Another option for this is to mirror your circles. Now, I can show you that on another piece. I don't want to overly confuse you or anything, but if you're asking why I showed you a way different in class, that's why. Okay, next thing we need to do is start making our 1/2 inch by 1 inch rectangle cutout centered. Now, this does not necessarily have to be 1/2 inch by 1 inch. This is just where the string goes through the top of your elevator. So it doesn't have to be exactly that size. That one is not like precise, but I just wanted to give you a measurement. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start my rectangle right here. It can be started anywhere, really. And I'm going to type in 0.5, comma, 1. Or it could be 1.25. I like 1.25. I'm going to do that. So now I have that shape. I'm going to use my move command again to move it, obviously. So how am I going to do that? I'm actually going to go back in my object snaps and turn back on my geometric center. So now that I've turned that on, I can hit move, and I can look for my geometric center by looking for an edge of my rectangle. Look for the edge and move it to my geometric center. Perfect. Now that shape is done. What I'm going to do to finish it off is I'm going to group these objects together. I'm going to do that by selecting them all, and that is by left clicking and then dragging without holding your mouse, hitting G, then enter. Okay, I want to show you how to make the card top next. Now this is 2.5 by 2.5 with a centered 0 by 0.055 radius holes, 1/2 inch from the edge, hole for string, and geometric center. Now there's a couple ways to do this. One way that you could do this is by actually putting this box in the geometric center. So hitting M, enter, moving it to the geometric center, and then going ahead and going from your circle radius. Oop. Now I don't like that because it doesn't match it to the edge. If I wanted to, I could hit quadrant, whoop, and match it to the edge, but I don't want to be overly confusing, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take this, move it back where it was. I'm going to do it the same way I did before. I'm going to use a little guiding rectangle. So I'm going to click in the corner, 1.5, comma, the length of my square, which is 2.5. And then I'm going to make my circle on the midpoint once I find that triangle. 0, I keep saying 1, 0.055, enter. Great. Take that rectangle. Well, actually, no, I'm going to show you the other way I would do this. The other way I would do this is with mirror. So here's another trick you can do. You can select both of these objects. If you hold the shift key on your keyboard and hit that shape, it will deselect it. Isn't that clever? Anyway, you can have them both selected too, if you're worried that they might not line up. And I say better be safe than sorry. I'm going to use my mirror command right here. Now, here's where my midpoint comes in handy again. I'm going to go from midpoint to midpoint. Not erase my source objects. Hit enter. Now I know that those holes are 1/2 inch from the edge. Now, the hole in the center doesn't really have to be a specific size again because it is just for the string that goes through. But I could say you can make it, you know, it could even be the same size as this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. The string could go through there, but we can glue the string. We can do all sorts of things to make it so that the string does not pop through the top. So I'm going to make mine like, let's say I'll make it 0.1 in radius. So I'm going to go circle, and I'm going to start my circle. I've got my geometric center turned on, and I'm going to go 0.1 radius. Nice. That's my elevator car top, and it's all finished. So I'm going to group it together. Great. Now, my car bottom doesn't need a hole at the top for my string. So I can easily make this using my copy command again. I'm going to go here, copy it one over, hit enter. Now, this is still grouped. These are both still grouped, but handy dandy, you can right click it, go ungroup, or you can just type in ungroup to your keyboard. But now that's not grouped, so I'm going to delete this. Now I have my car top and bottom. Easy, easy peasy. It says unnamed group. You could even name your group. Group. If I right click, can I name my group? I'm not really sure how to name my group. That's okay. Okay. So, it was confusing to some of you that I had R.5 in some of these listings. These are circles, and they're going to have that 0.055 radius hole in the center. So let's do that. I'm making my circles. They have a radius of, I have one that has a radius of 0.5, enter. And then they have a circle in the center, and since we have our center mid objects now turned on, we can put that there. And this is 0.055. Sorry, I keep misspeaking. And you know, I might just take this little shape here, hit CO, and move it just somewhere. So I have it to copy because I'm going to use this shape a lot. But in the meantime, I'm going to take this, I'm going to group it, and I need 2 of those. So I'm going to copy it right next to there. Perfect. Now I need another pulley circle, and these have a radius of 0.75. Easy peasy. And I'm going to take this circle, copy, go to the middle, bring to the middle, yep, easy peasy. Group, I need 2 of these, copy, done. All right, so there is one that is going to be a little difficult. The effort axis anchors. I want to show you how I'm going to do that because this has a 0.055 radius hole offset, 1/2 inch from any corner. And now you're like, what are you talking about? 1.5 by 1.5 rectangle. 1.5, comma, 1.5 with an offset 0.5 from any corner. Well, it's really as simple as taking that endpoint and making a little rectangle that's 0.5 by 0.5, and then taking that circle that we like so much, this one right here, copying it, grabbing it, putting it in this endpoint corner, deleting the shape. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. We group this, whoop. We call it a day. Done. We need 3 of those. So copy this group. 1, 3, easy, done. Okay, last specific thing that I want to talk about, the wheel frame supports. They're 1.5 by 1.25 right triangles. How are you supposed to do that? Well, let me show you. All you got to do is make a 1.5, comma, 1.25 rectangle. Go into your line command. Go from corner to corner. Look, you have it. You don't even need to do anything with that because the laser cutter is going to cut it nicely into 2 triangles. Nothing else you need to do there. Okay, let's see. The other specific part is, let's see, the effort axis wheels with a radius of 1 inch with 0.055 radius holes, 1 in center, 1 roughly, 0.2 from circle edge. When I say roughly, I mean it doesn't actually have to be exactly there. So this is going to be a little circle that we use as a little turning point, like we did with the first one. So there's going to be a dowel sticking out of that hole towards the edge, and we're going to use that to put a little to turn the circle. So I'm copying my little circle right here, whoop, grabbing it, going to center, and then I'm kind of like, okay, so this is 1 inch. It's like around here. That's as good as it needs to be. That's it. Group. Whoop. Done. Okay. Any other specific ones? No. That's pretty much it. All right, and then the rest are just simple shapes. The wheel frame is 2, comma, 1.25. The elevator sides are 5.5 by 7.5, enter. Oop, I have 2 of those. So I'm going to move this down so it's in our shape, in our area. If I'm a little concerned about the size too, I can always check here. I have 2 of those, so I'm going to take that, copy, make another. I have 2 wheel frames, so I'm going to make 2 of those, copy, make another. I have 2 of these bad boys, so I got to copy them, make another. And let's see, elevator top, car top, car bottom. Oh, I gotta make my car sides. I almost forgot. Silly me. So after that, what we gotta do is, and this is missing a, it might be missing one, yeah. Elevator sides. I gotta make the elevator bottom too. So I'm gonna add that to my list. Okay, now, so I got my elevator top right here. Great. I can say, I'm gonna group that, check. I'm gonna move it into the top corner so it's nice and neat. Perfect. Okay, I hit escape to get out of that selection. Next thing, I need my car top. Well, it's right here. I'm gonna move that right here. That's done. I need my car sides. Okay, I'll make them right now. They're 2.5, comma, 2.375. The reason for this is because when you build a box, you need to create a space for the thickness of the material to go. And so since the thickness of the cardboard or any wood is 1/8 of an inch, aka 0.125, I just subtracted 0.125 from one of the edges. That'll be just fine. I'm going to copy these. 1, 2. Great. Oops. Those are my elevator car sides. Oop. Move. Great. Car bottom. Next, elevator sides. They're the big ones, hard to miss. Move. I just wanted them lined up nice. Okay. I'll move those later. Pulley inner circle. Those are my littlest circles. They're right here. M, enter, move them up. Outer circle, they're the slightly bigger circles. They're right here. Just looking back to make sure I got them all the right size. Okay. M, enter, move. I've got my wheel frame, which is 2.125. Those are right here. I actually think for my wheel frame, I want some holes in that too. You guys are going to hate me for this. I am going to make a hole that is centered and 1/2 inch from this edge. 1.2. You guys want to know another trick? I'll show you. If I don't even want to copy this box because I don't want to delete it again, I can select this. I can hit copy. It's asking me to specify base point. I'm going to specify it from this endpoint. Copy it to the endpoint. Isn't that clever? Delete that with my delete key. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so I have those. Those are my wheel frame support, or wheel frames, and then wheel frame supports are my right triangle, which is right here. Then I have effort axis wheels. Those are the ones with the radius of 1 inch. And those are the biggest circles. I don't even have to hit the M command. I'm just doing it by force of habit. But these groups, they have a little dot in the center. That means you can just move them from there. It's another benefit of grouping things. And the very last thing, the elevator bottom. This is 3.5 by 5. 3.5, comma, 5. Oh my gosh, guys. My elevator side is totally wrong. Mistakes were made. I'm going to have to do a new cut list. The elevator sides are wrong. 3.5, comma. They should be 3.5 by 7.5. How could I be so foolish? I don't know. I'm very sorry. I'm going to give you guys an updated cut list because I really made a mistake there. I'm so sorry. In the end, these are all our pieces. I'm going to show you a picture with them labeled. I'm going to post it to Schoology and apologize for my wrongdoing, the mistakes I've made. But those are all. Bye-bye.